I couldn't believe it when my boyfriend forced me to go to the hospital for a virginity test. We had a huge fight about it, and I was so furious that I anonymously posted about it online. As expected, it sparked outrage among netizens. The top comment advised me to break up with him, saying guys like that are bound to be controlling and restrictive in the future. But honestly, Gabriel has always been good to me. Still, the comments were getting pretty harsh, so I felt compelled to defend him a bit. However, amidst all the angry responses, one comment stood out as strange. "Your boyfriend isn't Caucasian, is he?" I was surprised to see that comment, because Gabriel really isn't Caucasian. Before I could respond, a flood of replies appeared below. "What's wrong with not being Caucasian? That's racist. So only white people are civilized now. Can we focus on the issue at hand without bringing race into it? Gross." As more and more people expressed their outrage, I worried that the moderators might lock the thread because of the sensitive topic. I quickly replied, "Do you know something about this? Please explain if you can." I completely respect cultural differences. I wondered if there was some cultural custom I wasn't aware of that caused this misunderstanding with Gabriel. After all, Gabriel has always treated me very well. In our 2 years together, he would do all the cooking and household chores while I relaxed after work. He would even bring me a warm foot bath before bed. He kept track of my menstrual cycle, reminding me to stay warm and avoid cold drinks in the days leading up to it. If I got hurt or started bleeding, he'd be more worried than me, sternly warning me to be careful. I grew up without parents, and he practically doted on me like a daughter, so I felt guilty for bringing all this online hate upon him over one incident. I refreshed the comments a few times, but the user with the cute avatar still hadn't replied. I figured they might have muted the thread because of all the angry responses. I put my phone down and turned to look at Gabriel, who was sleeping beside me. His tan skin, the subtle snake tattoo on his neck, his chiseled features. I couldn't help but trace the lines of his face. He stirred awake at my touch, but didn't seem upset. He took my hand and brought it to his lips for a soft kiss. "Get some sleep. We have an early flight tomorrow." He was taking me to meet his parents the next day. Maybe that's why I was so anxious I could hardly sleep. On the plane the next day, still groggy, I picked up my phone again. I intended to delete my post to stop people from attacking Gabriel. As soon as I opened the app, I saw that the person had finally replied. "Is your boyfriend Tibetan?" I looked out the window at the vast, snow-capped mountains and froze. He actually was. It seems I asked the right person. We'd agreed not to bring up our fight again, so I hadn't had the chance to ask Gabriel about it. Now that I'd found someone who seemed to understand, I got excited. Yes, he is. Is there some cultural significance? I wasn't expecting an immediate response, but they replied quickly. "Don't go to his home." My heart skipped a beat because I was, at that moment, on a plane heading to his home. Slowly, I turned to look at Gabriel, who was busy working on his laptop. I must have looked pale. "What's wrong, babe?" he asked, taking my hand and gently squeezing it. "Nothing, just tired," I replied. He smiled, pretending to scold me. "That's what you get for staying up late. My future wife is gorgeous. No need to be nervous about meeting my parents." He adjusted my seat, tucked the blanket around me, and massaged my hand. "Don't worry, my parents are wonderful people. Get some rest." He was always so considerate and gentle with his words. I started to think that commenter must be trolling. Or maybe they were just prejudiced. I'd been with Gabriel for 5 years. How could I doubt him based on one stranger's words? I nodded and snuggled into the blanket, turning onto my side. After a while, I heard him resume typing on his laptop, so I secretly opened my phone again. I wanted to confront that person. I angrily replied, "So what if I go? What's going to happen?" They seemed to have been waiting for my response and replied almost instantly. 3 years ago, my sister went and never came back. My hand trembled as I held the phone. The plane hit some turbulence, and with a clatter, my phone fell to the floor. I bent down to pick it up. Still in a daze, Gabriel bent down to help, handing it back to me. I quickly turned off the still-lit screen. He noticed my odd behavior, but didn't question it. Instead, he affectionately caressed my cheek and said, "What am I going to do with you? Always so restless." even when sleeping. Forcing a laugh, I replied, "Well, that's why I have you, right?" I lay back in my seat, gazing at Gabriel as he returned to his work. I really couldn't imagine such a good man doing anything to harm me. But, out of curiosity, I picked up my phone once more. The comment section was buzzing. "What are you implying? Speak clearly and stop with the racist nonsense. Your sister goes missing, and you blame her boyfriend instead of calling the police? Really?" As a Caucasian, I'm shaking in my boots here. Is this some kind of supernatural horror story? I have to admit, I'm intrigued. The other comments reminded me that my post had gone viral because of the sensitive topic. This person could just be making up fiction for attention. Feeling annoyed, I replied, "Well, I'm already on my way there, so scary. Whatever shall I do?" Then I tossed my phone aside and put on my sleep mask. After we landed, Gabriel's home wasn't actually in Lhasa. We had to take several more rides before finally arriving. And by arriving, I mean we ended up at the base of a mountain. He led me on a hike up winding trails. I quickly lost track of where we were. His parents called him several times during the trek, asking why we weren't there yet. They seemed to be in a rush. At this point, I couldn't help but recall that commenter's warning. A chill ran down my spine. I wanted to run. "Why'd you stop?" "Tired." Gabriel paused and turned back to smile at me. Then he crouched down. "Hop on. I'll carry you." I looked around. Even if I wanted to run now, I had no idea how to get out of these complex mountain trails. I took a deep breath and climbed onto his back. I refused to believe that a man willing to carry me up a mountain trail could be truly evil. When we finally reached Gabriel's home, I thought I must have been overthinking things. I never expected to find an ancient stone fortress deep in the mountains. His parents were very kind and welcoming. They brewed me some salted butter tea and prepared lamb soup. They kept insisting that butter tea should, of course, be salted. Of course. I couldn't understand what they were saying, so Gabriel had to translate for me. After the meal, his parents suggested I take a bath, saying it was melted snow water. Exhausted from the journey, I retreated to my room to rest. I opened my phone again, intending to expose that commenter's lies. Hadn't they said I shouldn't come? Well, I came and nothing bad happened. That person had already replied to me. I thought they'd be angry, but instead, they calmly instructed, "Go to the top floor room and see if there's a hanging scroll painting." I was skeptical. Their directions seemed oddly specific. But since I was already here, taking a look shouldn't hurt. If there wasn't one, then great. No need to worry anymore. And if there was... As I was pondering this, I pushed open the door to the top floor room. A strong scent of incense hit me. The setting sun cast light on a hanging scroll. A hanging scroll. Bang. A gust of cold wind blew the door shut behind me. I stood frozen in place. Cold sweat broke out all over my body. My scalp tingled as goosebumps rose across my skin. The scroll was huge, over a meter long, with intricate patterns I didn't recognize. It had a distinct ethnic style. But what terrified me was that the scroll was shaped like a human figure. I managed to keep my composure enough to snap a photo and post it in the comments. As soon as I shared the photo, the comment section exploded. "Holy shit, there's actually a scroll. Don't scare me. It's dark out. You two planned this, right? Why the hell is it human-shaped? Creepy as fuck. This has to be fake for views, right? Please be fake. Girl, you need to get out of there now. Something feels very wrong about this." The comments grew more and more frantic. I typed out, "What is this thing?" They replied immediately, "A human skin thenka." What's a human skin thenka? Someone asked before I could. Simply put, it's a religious scroll painting made from human skin. As soon as I read that explanation, my legs nearly gave out. Looking at the scroll, I felt nauseous and terrified. The room was eerily silent. There was only one small window facing the scroll. The light was quickly fading. The incense scent seemed to grow stronger, as if it would swallow me up in the darkness. I wanted to run, but my legs felt like lead. I could only stare blankly at my phone. Human skin? Surely it's not what I think it is. Be careful, girl. I've heard of these. Apparently, Only the skin of enlightened monks or unmarried virgins can be used. No wonder her boyfriend took her for that medical exam. I'm Tibetan, and this practice was banned after 1949. They're all made with fake skin now. Don't scare the poor girl. But this is way too much of a coincidence. You really need to be careful. I couldn't stop shaking. My breathing grew rapid as panic set in. Just then, that person sent another message. Don't eat anything they give you. Don't bathe in the snow water. I nearly forgot how to breathe. My jaw trembled. Everything that had happened since last night matched exactly what they said. Either they had somehow planted hidden cameras to watch me, or they weren't lying. They were telling the truth. With trembling hands, I typed, "What if I already ate and bathed?" I had barely hit send when... Knock, knock, knock. A knocking sound broke the long silence, jolting my frayed nerves. Knock, knock, knock. Anna, are you in there? My heart pounded so hard it felt like it was echoing throughout the room. The knocks on the door continued, firm and rhythmic, as if the person on the other side knew exactly how to unsettle me. Anna, are you in there? Gabriel's voice sounded sweet, but at that moment, it felt different. Something about his tone sent a chill down my spine. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me, or maybe I was finally noticing something I had ignored before. Yes, I'm here, I replied, my voice trembling as I tried to sound calm. The silence that followed was even worse. No sound, no movement. Just the smell of incense, which seemed to grow stronger, almost suffocating. I was just resting, I added, hoping that would make him go away. The knocking stopped, but the feeling of danger didn't. I decided I needed to get out of that room. I didn't know where to go, but I knew I couldn't stay there. I looked again at the hanging scroll on the wall. The intricate patterns seemed to move, almost pulse, as the fading evening light cast shadows across it. The human figure depicted there, or worse, made, filled me with dread. Human skin. I thought again, the words echoing in my mind like a death sentence. I grabbed my phone, my hands trembling so much I nearly dropped it. A new message had arrived. Get out. Now. I wanted to obey. I wanted to open the door and run, but Gabriel was outside. If all of this was true, he knew exactly what was going on. And what if he wasn't who I thought he was? What should I do? I typed, practically begging for guidance. I sent the message, but no response came immediately. Then I heard footsteps in the hallway. Slow, deliberate, as if someone was walking to confirm I was still in the room. I held my breath, trying to stay quiet, but the smell of incense seemed to invade my senses, making it harder and harder to breathe. A notification. The vibration of the phone almost made me scream. I looked at the screen. In the kitchen, there's a door leading outside. Take water, but don't trust anything else. Don't tell anyone you're leaving. I stood up, my legs feeling like lead. Every step toward the door was a challenge. I opened it slowly, trying not to make a sound. The hallway was empty. For a moment, I thought about going back to the room, but I knew hesitation wasn't an option. I turned on the flashlight on my phone and made my way toward the stairs. The house was dark, lit only by the faint glow of candles along the walls. The silence was oppressive, broken only by the occasional creak of the wooden floor beneath my feet. When I reached the kitchen, a shiver ran down my spine. It was rustic, with old furniture and pots hanging from hooks. In the corner, I saw the door mentioned in the message, almost hidden in the shadows. I started toward it, but before I could reach it, I heard voices. I couldn't understand everything they were saying, but I recognized Gabriel's voice. He was talking to someone, probably his parents. I crouched behind the counter, trying to listen. Everything's ready. It won't take long, he said, with a calmness that chilled me to the bone. Ready for what?
Who were they talking about?
My body froze as my mind raced. It's for the good of everyone, replied a deeper voice, which I assumed was his father. We've waited long enough. My heart sank. I needed to get out of there immediately. My hands were so sweaty, I almost dropped my phone. I took a deep breath and kept moving toward the kitchen door. Just as my hand touched the handle, I heard footsteps approaching. I dropped to the floor, hiding behind a table. Gabriel entered the kitchen, muttering something to himself. He seemed to be carrying something, but I couldn't see what. My heart pounded so loudly, I was sure he could hear it. When he opened the kitchen door and stepped outside, I seized the moment. As soon as he was gone, I ran in the opposite direction. At the end of the hallway, I found another door. It looked like a secondary exit. I turned the handle and stepped into the cold night air. The smell of incense faded behind me, but the darkness surrounding me was almost total. Only the sound of the wind accompanied me as I ran aimlessly. I didn't know if I was heading in the right direction, but I had to get away from that house. My phone vibrated again. Don't trust anyone. He will follow you. The message made me stumble, nearly fall. The ground was uneven, filled with rocks and roots. I looked back, but I didn't see anything. Still, I felt like I was being watched. I kept running, my breath ragged and the icy air burning my throat. After what felt like forever, I saw a light in the distance. A small cabin, or maybe an abandoned shed. I ran toward it, praying for help. When I reached it, the door was ajar. I slipped inside and closed it behind me. The interior was tiny, with a single chair and a dust-covered table. Trembling, I grabbed my phone and typed another message. I'm out of the house, but I think he's coming. What do I do now? The response came almost instantly. Don't let him find you. If he does, don't trust what he says. This is all a ritual, and you are the final piece. My legs nearly gave out. A ritual? That word spun in my mind as my body trembled uncontrollably. Then I heard footsteps outside. The handle of the door began to turn slowly. Anna, it's me, Gabriel. Are you okay? Are you in there? I backed away, pressing myself against the wall. Tears streamed down my face. He knocked again, his voice gentle but insistent. Please open the door. It's not safe out here. My hands were trembling so badly, I could barely hold the phone. He continued, now with a more impatient tone. Anna, don't make this harder than it has to be. In that moment, I realized the man on the other side of the door was not the Gabriel I thought I knew. And if he came in, I knew I would never leave. The sound of the doorknob turning slowly pulled me back to reality. Gabriel was outside, and I knew I had to act fast. My hands were still trembling, but I gripped my phone tightly and tried to think. He knocked again, harder this time, his voice firm but laced with a sweetness that now felt completely fake. Anna, please open the door. I don't want you to get hurt. Let's talk, okay? I talked to myself internally.
No.
I can't open it. If I open this door, it's all over. My only way out was to wait for the right moment. There was a small window at the back of the cabin, one I hoped he didn't know about. I held my breath and moved slowly toward it. It was narrow, but it looked like I could fit through. As he kept knocking and talking, I used the noise to mask the sound of me pushing the window open. It creaked slightly and I froze, hoping he hadn't heard. When I realized he was still distracted, I managed to open it wide enough to squeeze through. I glanced outside. Total darkness, but a dense forest awaited me. It was my only chance. Carefully, I climbed onto the ledge and forced myself out through the opening, feeling the cold night air sting my skin. As soon as my feet hit the ground, I started running without looking back. I didn't know where I was going, but I knew I needed to get as far away as possible. The tall trees cast eerie shadows, and the sound of dry leaves crunching under my feet seemed deafening. The icy air burned my lungs, but I couldn't stop. Then, I heard footsteps behind me. Gabriel had realized I was gone. He was yelling my name, his voice now desperate and angry. I picked up my pace, weaving through the trees, trying to stay out of sight. The footsteps grew closer, and my heart pounded harder. Then I saw it. Lights in the distance. A road? A house? It didn't matter. I had a destination. Using every ounce of strength, I ran toward the light. Finally, the forest opened up to a narrow road. There were no cars, but I saw a small, illuminated farmhouse. I banged on the door, screaming for help. An older man opened it, looking confused, but before he could ask anything, I rushed inside and slammed the door shut. "Please help me. Someone's after me. He wants to hurt me." The man looked bewildered but nodded. He locked the door and reached for the phone to call the police. Outside, I could hear Gabriel shouting again, but he eventually gave up, realizing he couldn't get in. My body collapsed from exhaustion as I waited for the police to arrive. When they got there, I told them everything that had happened, but I left out the part about the ritual and the scroll. I didn't know how to explain it without sounding crazy. However, I showed them the video I had secretly recorded on my phone. It captured parts of the conversation in the kitchen and the scroll itself. They looked confused but promised to investigate. I wasn't sure they believed me, but for now, I was safe. After escaping, I thanked the anonymous person who had helped me. I messaged them, saying I was alive and out of danger, and asked how they knew so much. The reply came quickly. "We need to talk. I can't explain everything here. Let's meet." I hesitated. I was afraid it might be another trap, but something inside me told me they were telling the truth. We arranged to meet at a busy cafe. When I arrived, I saw a man sitting alone, nervously glancing around. He looked exhausted, like someone who had been carrying a heavy burden for years. "Are you the one who messaged me?" I asked as I sat across from him. He nodded but didn't meet my eyes.
Yes.
"My name is Michael. I knew what was happening to you because I used to be part of it." My blood ran cold. Part of it? Part of what? The rituals? He took a deep breath and finally looked at me.
Yes.
I was part of that group. It's not just a cult. It's a closed, organized circle, made up of people no one would ever suspect. They have connections, influence, and dark secrets. My family was involved for generations, and I was raised to believe it was normal. I felt my stomach turn. "And you participated? You did this to other peoples?" He lowered his head. "I never laid a hand on anyone, but I knew what was happening. I was there. I helped organize, lure people in until they took my sister. She was used as the final piece in one of their rituals. After that, I was never the same. I left, but I couldn't report them. They have eyes everywhere. If I tried, I'd be next." My anger boiled over. "So you stayed silent while more people disappeared? You knew what they were doing and did nothing?" I couldn't. They would destroy me. I've already lost everything, my family, my life. All I can do is warn people anonymously. I stood up, furious. "But I can. I have proof. I recorded everything, and I'm going to report them. I don't care what happens." He looked terrified. "If you do that, they'll come after you. They'll try to silence you." "Let them try," I said, determined. "They've done enough." I went to the police with all the evidence I had. The videos, the audio, and my testimony. The investigators were shocked to discover that the group was responsible for numerous unsolved disappearances. No one suspected them because they were influential, well-respected members of society. But the evidence was undeniable, and a full-scale operation was launched to take them down. Several members were arrested, including Gabriel's parents. The ritual site, the scroll, and even remains of past victims were uncovered in a thorough investigation. The story shocked the nation. The group was identified as being behind dozens of disappearances over the years, but finally, their reign of terror had come to an end. As for me, I tried to move on with my life, knowing I would never be the same. Even though I had survived, the scars of what I had been through would always remain. But one thing gave me comfort. I had done the right thing. I had put an end to their cycle. And now, no one else would fall victim to their horrors.